Okay. Let me make real sure. Yes, we are live. Hello, everybody. Hello, Facebook. This may be weird for you guys because you're seeing both of us right now. And we're going to explain why in a minute. But I want to let you know that my live that happens tomorrow at 3, I'm going to share this post again because I think it's something we really want everybody to kind of hear about and talk about. But today I'm interviewing Kayla Tullis, children's director here at First United Methodist Church, and also the one who started our backpack ministry. As you guys may know, things really changed quite a bit this year with our backpack ministry because of coronavirus and all that's going on. And so I wanted to ask Kayla some questions about the backpack ministry and about managing it. But I want to start with how did this come up to begin with? How did we get started with this backpack ministry?
Well, we've been going for about 3 years now with our backpack ministry. The first 2 years, we were just at Pine Forest Elementary. We became aware I think partially just through having kids at the school and being involved in the community, we became aware that we definitely had some kids and some families in Maumelle that were food insecure. And as a church, if there's a need, especially in our community, in our neighborhood, right across the street, we wanted to find a way to help those families out and take care of that need. And we started working with the counselor and the administration at Pine Forest Elementary to find a way to do that, to find a way to help those families and take that burden off of them and take that burden off and that worry away from those kids. And then this past school year, we were able to expand. We had a little bit of the kinks worked out in the program, and we knew a smooth, easy way to make it operate. And we were able to start expanding to the other schools within Maumelle, Crystal Hill Elementary, Maumelle Middle, and Maumelle High School.
So we've grown quite a bit. Right before this all started, if you guys remember, some of our church family, if you remember, we were having this great big drive last March for our schools. It was a school drive. We have this awesome backpack ministry, but we wanted to help out in a lot of other ways, such as clothing and toiletries and just things that are needed, but you just don't think about. Shoes, things like that. And we were doing so well, we had some awesome donations, and then the world changed. I remember us being there, but Kayla, what was that like the moment you realized school was closed?
Well, for me, it was a little bit of a panic because we were planning. For anybody that doesn't know, typically when our kids have a long break from school, Thanksgiving break, spring break, Christmas break, anything where they're gone for more than just a weekend, we deliver more of a box to those families. So they have a little bit more to get them through the break, because not only is that longer they're at home, but that's days that they're away from school that they're not getting breakfast and lunch at school like they typically would. So we try to provide more for those breaks. And when we found out the kids were leaving school on that Thursday before spring break and not going back, they were going to have a week off and then, spring break, and then they were going to go back after that.
At the time, we thought that would all blow over.
Right. At the time, they were going back.
Mm-hmm.
But even when I thought they were going back, honestly, I panicked a little bit because not only had we not delivered for that week, because we make the deliveries so they could go home on Friday, but we had not delivered the boxes for the following week. So that was the week that they were going to be out of school. We didn't have our boxes delivered to them, plus an extra week. And that was a long break that they were going to have, that we were not going to have a way to get access to them, to get them what they needed. So we I'm pretty sure took everything we had in the room, and threw it in the car and went to get to the schools. And we had a couple of volunteers that were able to drop what they were doing and get here immediately, and help make those deliveries. And just we gave them everything we had to get them through that, what we thought was a break, until we would be able to start delivering to them again when school went back, which we're still waiting on. But
still uncertain when that will be.
Yes, yes. But that was definitely kind of scary to know, because we had developed such a relationship with those counselors, and by that way with those families, we didn't want them to feel like we were just letting them go.
Right. Yeah. And I was gonna say, I remember it was like an afternoon, like because that Thursday we had already delivered bags. All of our volunteers had already done it, and it was like that afternoon we had to drop what we were doing and scramble because
Yes.
there was no way for these kids to, normally they wouldn't receive anything over the break. So that week happens, and I'm going to put spring break in quotes because it sure didn't feel like one for me.
Yeah.
That happens, and then we realize, well, this is going to last quite a bit longer. And if you guys aren't aware, some of the things that the schools try to do to alleviate that, schools like Charter, I know our Maumelle public schools, like all of PCSSD, as well as LRSD, they all began preparations to deliver food to certain spots. There were like 20 locations, I think, originally.
Yeah, I think it started out as 20.
And so we, as a community, we were like, okay, good. At least kids are still daily receiving food. And then some issues happened. We had
Yes.
one volunteer
One of the school
report.
district volunteers.
One of the district volunteers self-reported with COVID, and so they had to shut down those operations for like I think there was a good weekend and maybe a Thursday as well where
Mm-hmm.
we
Yes.
stepped up mega time,
Yes.
working with some of our counselors who were awesome. So that was, it was a joy to be able to work with them and kind of get our foot in the door of how do we do this? How do we feed kids who are completely food insecure during a pandemic and as well as a recession due to the pandemic?
Right.
And so we did that, and then the company that came in to deliver some of the meals for PCSSD, they could only deliver to 5 of the 20 locations based on CDC guidelines.
Yes. The sites that they deliver to have already been certified with, I'm going to get this wrong, but I think it's like UDA, something. They already had to have been certified to be able to distribute food.
And no one could have possibly
No one knew they needed to have that certification.
So, needless to say, it is currently June 3rd, I think. Yes, I guessed correctly this time. I'm amazed at myself. And we have been continually serving one of our local areas. But before we get into that and why that's still a great big need, especially over this summer in particular, before we get into that, had the world not changed, what would our year have looked like up until this point, up until June 3rd? What normally would happen over a school year? Sorry.
Well, where we were right before this happened, we were delivering bags to 65 students a week throughout the Maumelle area. A typical school year, we would have continued to grow just a little bit more before the end of the year. I would guess that we would have been between 70 and 75 students by the end of the school year. And then at the end of the school year, what would typically happen would be some form of letter communication would go home to those families at the beginning of the summer, with information on how to contact us if they needed assistance through the summer. And in previous summers, we've had a handful of families each summer that we have continued to help, because they've reached out and said, school's out now, the kids are home all the time. We still need help. We need a little more help. And we've been able to continue doing that, working directly with those families if they're comfortable contacting us.
So we normally do boxes,
Yes.
more substantial things for a longer period of time. And instead of that, just because the need is so great now, especially for the families that we serve, we've just been continually going and feeding them just as much as we possibly can.
Yes.
Which is awesome. So if you're out there watching this and maybe you didn't know about our backpack ministry, we actually had, this is kind of awesome. We had a family reach out because this 9-year-old boy, well, he was just turning 9 actually, so he was 8. He decided for his birthday he didn't want anything. He didn't need anything. But somebody probably did. And so for his birthday, he wanted to donate a bunch of food to a kid to kids who need food, who don't have food. And so they found us somehow. Grandmother said that she simply Googled food banks, saw our church and what we were doing, and she reached out. And so he gave, they actually still give us supplies regularly. They are an awesome family.
They are. We appreciate them so much. And we have a lot of other very regular volunteers and people who donate who are really, they feel like they're not doing much, and they, we thank them profusely, and they say, "Oh, it was nothing." They're keeping this ministry going.
Yes, absolutely. And we're actually, if I remember correctly, so when we would do boxes, we maybe had 3 families, I want to say, during the summer.
I think last summer, we had 3.
Because it's hard for families sometimes to confide in us that this is a need.
Right.
And this year, we have more families with more kids, and we're still continuing on. If this is something you want to contribute to, I'm sure we have a list. Is the list on the video that we did?
It is, and it went out again this past week in our weekly email. We can post it in the comments of this video as well. If you want to contribute, there's so many ways. You can donate, you can give online.
You can buy one. Are these still for sale?
I think so. Those awesome T-shirts are for sale.
They contribute to our backpack ministry.
Yes, and just like with everything else, just like with everything you see people post on Facebook, if you can't give right now, if you can't donate right now, if this time has got you a little bit strapped like a lot of people, that is okay. And if you're not comfortable coming to volunteer and help pack the bags, we get that. You can just pray for us. You can also, when you see videos like this, when you see graphics advertising the program, when you see any information about that online, the more that you can share that, and the more that you can help get the word out about the program that we're doing, because that's really, that's how it's grown. It's grown by developing the relationships that we have with the counselors, with the schools, and gaining the trust of those families. But it's grown through people who have seen the program and shared it on the community page and ended up on the news. And it's been word of mouth that's helped people realize what we're doing. And the more donations we have, the more volunteers we have, the more we're given to work with, the more we immediately turn around and find a way to get that to our community.
I'll say, as just some closing thoughts, I look forward to a day when we're kind of back to normal and we can have those face-to-face interactions with people who are part of the process. We have volunteers that deliver bags, we have volunteers that pack bags. We also have some excellent counselors and nurses that we worked with directly, and school administrators. I miss being able to be a part of that. But in the meantime, especially over the summer, something you need to consider, everybody, is that the unemployment rates are, I think, 10% in Arkansas, which is pretty high for us. The food insecurity was there before. It's growing now. and it's going to grow. The government has taken some steps, and they're doing what they can, but this is an opportunity for us to get to actually do some really, really important help. Do you want to talk about 200,000 Reasons with the United Methodist Church at all?
Um, yes, 200,000 Reasons is the program with, I guess that's the right word, within the United Methodist Foundation. It's where we got our original grant to start the program years ago. It's how we actually started. It was a program that was started to help end child hunger in Arkansas. And we have been able to get a renewed grant from them each year because we're continuing the program. But it's a great group, and it's a great program that's helping make ministries like this possible, helping start ministries like this throughout the entire state. And like you were just saying, this summer's kind of tough. I would also like to kind of point out for those who maybe don't have aren't school age kids in your house or in your family close by. Tomorrow will make 12 weeks that we've already been out of school. That's basically a summer. We've already been through the amount of time that kids would have been home for the summer, and we're really just starting what we hope is summer, and that we hope in August we will go back. But we've got almost as long ahead of us as we've already put in if the world returns to normal. So that's 12 weeks that these kids would have been getting breakfast and lunch at school that we've already gone through. So these families, we're helping them what we can, but they've already had that extra stress and that extra trying to figure out how to make this work and how to make everything okay. They've already been doing that for a while, and they've still got a long way ahead of them. So we're going to continue to do as much as we can this summer for those families. And that's why it's hard to say we're kind of trying to increase the program at a time like this, but trying to make sure that we can do everything we can right now, considering the current situation.
Yeah, and I have faith that things have been moving smoothly. We're prepared to grow.
Yes.
Some shout outs we probably want to make to people who have greatly helped us in organizations. Walmart, our local Walmart has done so much for us.
Y'all, we love Walmart.
Yes, and
they
their managers.
They have given us grants. They have donated food. They have made it easy for us to get the supplies we need when it's not easy to get anything right now. They have. It was probably about a year, not even quite a year ago, they found out about this program. And their manager, he had a heart for it. He said, I want to help kids, and I want to help kids here in our community. So we have worked together, and they have done a lot for us.
They've donated. They've straight up just given us stuff that I think, especially for when we were doing our drive, they had all these extra supplies that they weren't planning on using, and they Peter wants me to give him an okay sign. Peter Payton's watching. Holler, Peter. Thanks for watching. Share this. So they straight up just gave us stuff that greatly helped that drive, as well as just our day-to-day operations now. The Hines family, the family we were just talking about, they've done a lot.
Yes.
Who are some other folks that deserve a well-timed shout out?
We have a lot of dedicated volunteers here at the church. Sheila Harden and Jennifer West have been a constant support. They have organized, which I need. They have organized things here. They have made everything easy to work with. They're here all the time to help pack bags. I'm going to forget people if I start saying names.
Yeah.
Buddy Short is always here.
Tanya Rayburn is doing stuff.
Yes. Jennifer Smith is here all the time.
Melissa Pruitt and Jennifer Reeves.
Yes, they delivered for us during the school year, which was an every week project. Taking the bags to the middle school and the high school.
Organizing which bags go to which location because they were different numbers.
Getting them, yes, getting everything where it needs to go.
A lot
And
of
the
math.
counselors at the schools, I have to say, are some of our biggest support because they're the ones at the schools and they know the kids who need help. They know the kids who need help who might not be asking for help. And they know how to get in touch with those families and to let them know what we can provide for them. Um, and it's just crazy what we can do because of them. Because every school year we start out with a very low number, and those counselors work to help create that trust between the students and the families and us and help them know that, we're here to help them and create that relationship so that we can reach the families we need to reach. So the counselors are by far one of the most important parts of making this successful.
In case you guys, I don't think we've mentioned this yet, but if you go back on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page, we actually made a video with our not just our volunteers, but like our counselors and a nurse and such, people who were talking about why this matters. More than just feeding kids who otherwise wouldn't have food, which of course is very important, but like spiritually, why this matters to their faith. I encourage you to go watch that video and maybe share it again. Make sure people are aware that this is an awesome ministry, and it's run by a pretty awesome church, and it matters to a lot of us. So give this a like and a share. Give that other post a like and a share. Closing thoughts, Kayla, on your backpack ministry.
Um, I would just like to say if you want to donate or volunteer, we will make it as easy as possible. We've had a lot of people that will just simply call or text and say, "Hey, I have things that I want to bring by." They'll drop them outside the door. We can go pick them up. It can be as safe and as no contact as it needs to be right now, for anybody that wants to be involved in it. And we just we're going to keep going. And if school starts back in August, we will be back in the schools. And if it doesn't, we will still be helping the families that need help.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We're still doing ministry. This is a great church, and it's a great place to worship. Worship with us online. We have now opened the building as well with our social distance protocols. Be sure to be aware of those. You can find that on our website.
Yes.
And the emails that we send out. I'm just assuming. You can always check us out live on Facebook, and we also post those to YouTube. So if you miss it and you're more of a YouTube person than a Facebook person, go check it out. Thank you for letting me interview about this today.
Thanks so much.
Y'all have a great one.